Today, I am super excited to be talking to a man that has survived death not once, not twice, but 3 times. So far, he has gone from 625 pounds down to 199 and has done away with all 16 of the medications that he once relied on. It's all thanks to his new exercise regime and dietary choice. Can you guess which dietary choice it's going to be? Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I give you the amazing Joshua Carrero of New York City. Welcome, Joshua. I've got to say, yours is, I'm pretty sure, the most miraculous health journey that I've ever come across. You're going to inspire, I'm sure, thousands, and I think your story is going to save potentially a lot of lives. So thank you so much to agreeing to being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to help.
You're very welcome, brother. So tell us about your early life. How did you eat growing up? And were you a keen exerciser back then?
Well, I'm from the States. So we over here, I don't know, you guys call it too, right? The SAD diet, standard.
Yeah, I think we probably say standard Western diet.
Yeah, Western diet.
But it's the same junk, isn't it?
Yeah.
Animal products and
Same crap. Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I grew up as a regular, Pop-Tarts, a whole bunch of frozen pizzas. I was a latchkey kid who came home to an empty house. So wow. I was pretty much left to my own devices when it came to my food choices.
Right. That's never a good formula.
Definitely not. Definitely, especially for someone who was as inventive with food as I was. I knew how to put things together. Just put it that way.
Okay.
As far as working out, I was always a very agile, big person for my size as a kid. I was one of the fastest, one of the strongest. So I really didn't rely so much on actually going into the gyms or whatever. I was just natural ability. Mm-hmm. I was a 2-sport athlete in high school and partial in college until my lack of vertical height kind of stopped my whole basketball thing. But football, I was really good at football, so I knew how to work out. I just When you're a kid, you don't think about stuff like that.
Yeah. Sure. So for my UK audience, we're speaking of American style football rather than soccer. And I guess you're going to be doing a lot of like weight training and stuff. So I guess you're going to be a bit bigger. So I guess you were using a lot of those calories, like perhaps, were you like terribly sort of fat at this stage, if you don't mind me using that term?
Of course.
You had a lot of muscle, so you were sort of eating up the calories kind of thing early on.
I was definitely on the more, I would say like a dad bod, because I had a lot of musculature, but I was definitely a little pudgy around the area.
So not lean, but lots of muscle as well.
Exactly,
so you're kind of more making use of the cows.
Yeah.
And tell us how you came to put the weight on, like when you got up to, did you tell me 600 pounds?
Yeah, 625. Yeah,
625. Yeah, how did you come? So you were sort of athletic, and then obviously you became really quite large. What was there like a trigger for that? How did that go down?
Well, I think one of the triggers was as an athlete. Most people eat, a tremendous amount, and you end up with a surplus. Unfortunately, for me, I continued to eat as an athlete and was doing no physical work.
Right.
So that was one of the keys. But I think the major key for me was just the unfortunate passing of my parents and my grandparents. It just became something where I used food as a coping mechanism, whenever I felt sad, cheeseburger. Whenever I felt happy, hey, another cheeseburger.
Cheeseburger.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we would call like self-medication, but your drug of choice was food, basically. And that didn't help that you were a professional chef at the time, right?
Yeah, it was basically like putting someone who is addicted to, like, let's say, you know, any drug, and putting them as a watcher of said drug.
Yeah.
It was basically
Putting the fox in charge of the hen house.
Exactly. That's exactly the way I felt. Yeah, like imagine I there would be times where like we would be serving like thousands of people, and meanwhile the head chef, i.e. myself, I'll be in the back eating and trying everything, you know, and usually they tell you, you know, you try it and then you spit it out. Oh, there was no spitting out for me, sir. Plate him up, you know, so that's just the way it was.
Yeah, man. If you'd like to optimize your health, body shape, or performance with a vegan diet, then please check out my new online nutrition course. I've launched it at a low introductory price. It contains 14 videos, 2 cookbooks, and masses of downloadable and printable PDFs, including a complete nutrition chart for all ages and stages of life, so you can be sure that the whole family is thriving. And we chatted yesterday, didn't we? You told me that you had a horrible injury before. You tell us about that.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I had a little dog, a little Shih Tzu, who he was my entire life. And he went to go jump off of a ledge, and when I looked down, the ledge was full of just like I guess scrap metals and stuff. So I ran and reached down, and when I reached down, I completely obliterated my spine. One of my disc expressed out of the side of the spine, and in doing so, it pulled my spinal cord tight against my vertebrae. And in less than 5-6 minutes, I was completely numb from the neck down, unable to hold anything, unable to stand, unable to even breathe on my own. They had it.
That must have been terrifying, right?
It was absolutely one of the most like, it was so scary because I can feel it going up my body. So like it started in my left leg and it just continuously crept up until I had trouble breathing. I could barely talk. And it was horrible. I ended up taking myself to the hospital. I walked until I couldn't walk anymore. And I told the nurse, I said, "Nurse, I'm in, I need help. And if you don't get me into a wheelchair, like right this second, I will be on the floor and there's no one to lift me," because I was 600 pounds at that point. So,
wow. Wow.
So imagine.
I guess you must have been staying there for a while in the hospital, right?
Yeah, I stood a little bit less than a year, relearning how to just do things that people take for granted, being able to hold utensils, being able to feed myself, wash myself, stuff like that. Yeah, it was a crazy journey, if I do say so myself.
Yeah. How was life day to day in there? It must have affected your mental state, no?
Well, luckily for me, I actually found a program that they were offering in the hospital, which was, it's not offered everywhere, but they had a guided meditation.
Oh, wow.
And if it was not for guided meditation, I probably would have went crazy. I was able to go to the beach, in my mind, able to go and be out with friends, still be able to be active in my mind. And that, people don't understand how immensely helpful that is for a person who is unfortunately stuck in their body, and it's just like, if it wasn't for that program, I believe a few people that came out better than they went in would have been worse for wear. Like it definitely, it opened my heart and mind. And that's why you see the bubbly person you see now.
Yeah, you are super bubbly. I love chatting with you. I was glad you agreed to a second chat today.
Of course, yeah.
And so how long were you in hospital for?
A little over 11 months. Yeah.
11 months. And then, so were you like totally incapacitated at the start of that?
Yeah, I was basically bedridden for the first 4.5 months. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
And that nearly killed me. And like we had spoke about before, I caught a pulmonary embolism. For those of you who don't know, it's a blood clot that ran from my leg since I wasn't able to walk so much or walk at all. I actually, and it went up to my lung and it destroyed part of it. That's why I'm, everybody who knows me from the hospital, they call me a walking miracle because I had,
wow.
I regained full lung strength, which is, unheard of. Wow. And that's why, that's why I'm here, I guess. Yeah.
It's not very often I get to speak to walking miracles, so I'm
telling you.
Grateful. It's amazing. I've got to think, I guess you had at least sort of 2 or 3 diseases at this point. Is that a fair assumption? Well,
I had all the diseases, like pretty much, yeah. Unfortunately, I had asthma my entire life. I had type 2 diabetes. I had starts of kidney disease, starts of heart disease. I had, they call it NASH here in the States, but it's fatty liver disease. Mm-hmm. So basically, what I was told when I first came into the hospital, I had the liver of a 75-year-old man who would drink every day.
Wow.
Nonstop. Yeah.
Wow. And I think you told me you were a teetotaler.
Yeah.
This was just from food damage?
Yeah, this was, basically it's fat that accumulates around the liver and it slowly kills it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Wow. So it's crazy. Like it really is, like, to see the amount of damage that you can do to your body and it still tries to heal itself and tries to, do what it needs to do. Yeah. Human body is amazing.
It's our best friend, but most of us treat it so badly, but it still hangs in there for us.
Definitely.
Do you remember how many different medications you were on in the end?
16.
16? Wow.
16. I used to have to take 4 different medicines in the morning, and they will all consist of 3 to 6 pills. Okay, wow. I was on cholesterol medicine, liver medicines. I was on and pain medication. I think that's what scared me the most: the amount of pain medication and anti-inflammatories, and I used to get these things like after the spinal cord injury, where my nerves would get in such a way where it would be basically like a seizure. Like my whole body would start to shake and I had no control, and they would give me muscle relaxers and that would put me out for 4 to 5 hours. It was just horrible. Like it really was. It was horrible.
I've got to think there must have been lots of side effects. Is that fair to assume?
Oh, rashes. I used to get these crazy rashes, like just everywhere. And not being able to really eat well. Like I wasn't hungry. I felt sick to my stomach on a constant basis, so.
That's no way to live, is it?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Now, I think, have I got this right? I think you told me that you're currently down 425 pounds you've lost?
Yeah, 426 today. I lost.
46 lost. Wow.
Yeah.
I have never heard of being someone that successful. You really are a massive inspiration. That's crazy. How about the meds? Have you been able to back those down to a degree?
No, I'm completely off all the meds. I have no need for them.
What? That's crazy.
It opens up my day. Exactly. It opens up my day so much. I'm not busy taking medications all day.
Everyone's going to be asking,
Okay.
What the hell happened? How did you lose 426 pounds, and how did you get off 16 meds? Everyone's going to want to know the secret.
Okay, well, the secret is to almost die 3 times.
You told me that you clinically died for like a few seconds and like a minute and a half.
The first time I almost died. Well, I died. I died for 10 seconds. That was during the intubation process because I was so huge that they had to put me under. And putting under someone who's so big, it's very, very, very scary. Like to the doctors and to the anesthesiologists, they don't really want to do it because your pathway, like when you lay someone as big as I was on his back, forget it. It's just like trying to put a needle through a hole that's closed. Basically, it was So it was hard, and from what I was told, they had to. The whole ER had to push me over on my side so that I would, clear the airway. So that's one bullet I neoed, I matrixed, and
I love it.
The second one was during the spinal cord injury. I could not breathe on my own. So they lost me for 30 seconds. I was completely gone. Wow. And then the last one was during the pulmonary embolism. And that one I was gone for a full minute. They actually had to paddle me. And it's crazy that I say it because I could hear everything that was going on. And like, maybe I had an out-of-body experience, but the thing that brought me back was my wife screaming.
Wow.
I remember it like it was like yesterday. Like all I heard was Josh, and it was just like instant, like a kick to the chest, and I was back. And I was just like,
wow.
I think I set forth from that day on to change my life completely. I had to, because
so that gave you the motivation.
Yeah, that was the first.
That's kind of, isn't it? If anything's going to give you the motivation, that's what we call like a teachable moment, and it sounds like
exactly
3 of them. So how did you accomplish it? That's what everyone's dying to know. They're on the edge of their seats right now, Joshua.
I know. Well, for me, I was lucky enough to marry a staunch supporter of the vegan lifestyle, and she was the first one to actually tell me, "Hey, we should go vegan. I think your body needs it." And I, of course, being the super male toxic person that I was back then, I said absolutely not. And then it's like I told you yesterday, I always felt like I had a vegan heart though. I was never a person who found joy in watching animals be mistreated. But I had to align myself with my morals. And that was the big key. Okay, now, weight loss. What I did was I stopped eating and I did this cold turkey one day, boom, done. Wow. I stopped eating all animal byproducts. I started eating a whole food plant-based diet, which, and I also went alkaline. Alkaline is a offshoot of a whole foods plant-based diet, but it's a bit more strict. We do no gluten. We don't eat any hybrid foods, which is, I know to some vegans is immensely restrictive because like, say if you, like you do bananas, right? I won't eat a regular banana. I'll eat something called a burro banana, which is a ancestor of the original banana.
I've not even heard. Yeah. Say that again, burro.
It's called burro. It's BURRO.
Okay.
It's small and fat. It looks like almost like a plantain. It's green, right. But as you let it ripen, it becomes sweet, like just like a banana.
Do they have seeds in them?
Some do. It depends. The ones I get, I try not to have them be too big of a seed because
they must be sweet like that.
Yeah, like my poor teeth, But The ones I get, yes, have a larger seed than the bananas that you guys are all used to.
Yeah.
I don't eat any like hot house tomatoes or stuff like that. I eat small tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, grape tomatoes, heirlooms if I can find them, because unfortunately in some parts of the states there's can't really find them.
Right.
And to be honest, I work out 6 times a day for an hour and a half, sometimes 2.
Yeah.
And
nice.
And when I first started, listen, to all my overweight or obese vegans and friends out there, you can find ways around your weight, right? What I did was I sat for the first 6 months of my weight loss journey. I sat.
Mm-hmm.
I sat. I did anything that I can do standing, I can do sitting.
Nice.
Except for certain things, but for the most part, that's what I did. They have like this elliptical machine in my gym where you can use all your arms rather than your legs.
Oh, nice.
Oh man, listen, I must have lost at least 50 pounds because of that machine alone.
Wow.
I'm like, oh god, no more. I can't.
This reminds me of a saying that I'm really fond of.
Okay.
If you want it enough, you will find a way. Otherwise, you will find excuses.
Exactly.
That's the embodiment of that.
And that is the honest truth. Like I could have went home like from the hospital and said, you know what, I am a cripple now. I am, I'm disabled. There is nothing that I can do now. My life is done. And I actually believe that my life has found so much more purpose now after the accident. Like I told you yesterday, I don't feel bad about the accident. I feel that the accident saved my life. I was well on my way to dying an early death, and it's just like people seem to not understand their blessings sometimes. And I truthfully, honestly believe that this was a blessing in disguise.
Wow, that's a great outlook.
That's the only way you can, like, honestly do the types of work that we do. Like I believe in light workers. I believe in people who, they're put on this, on this world, on this planet, whatever, to help people see that everything can be done. A person who, listen, I was a person, I used to eat copious amounts of meat, copious. I was a full-on animal abuser. Of course, I never did it firsthand. And that's the real problem, that no one seems to understand that it takes something to lose his life for you to eat this way, and I got to see it firsthand, and that completely changed my way.
That was when you were a chef, wasn't it? You had to go to the slaughterhouse. Yeah, tell us.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I was a chef for a huge grocery, very established one. And
I like how you're not naming it.
Yeah. And they used to make their chef buyers, and that's what I was, go to farms and to go check on the animals and how the animals were being treated and stuff like that. So I used to always try to get out of that, because I always knew that wasn't something I wanted to see. Unfortunately, I was unable to get out of it this time. So I went. And as soon as I got in there, just the smell hits you.
I've like smelled that. It smells evil, doesn't it?
Oh, it smells like something that should never be on this earth. Like I that's the only way I can tell people,
I imagine, like, if there is such a thing as hell, I imagine that's how it would smell. I can't put it any other way. It just smells evil.
Yeah. Goosebumps. Yeah. That's exactly the way I felt. Like I felt like I shouldn't be here, and neither should they, Yeah. So I see this young man, and I clearly see it in his face that he's not ready to do what they want him to do. So I woke up and I'm looking at him and he's looking at me, and we both have the same, like, oh my God, please do not, And this other gentleman comes, you could tell he's probably worked there forever. He came up with his, the air rifle, and bang. And when that happened, I instantly knew that I would never, ever, ever eat another animal again. Like, it was just...
You just have to see it, don't we?
And now I understand why it is that there's no windows in a slaughterhouse. Mm-hmm. Because if people were to see that, I guarantee you, they would stop. It would stop them immediately. Like, I'm telling you, I literally stopped eating meat. Like, it took me a bit because I'm of Hispanic descent. So some Hispanics, we feel like if you don't eat meat, you're not actually eating, Yeah. But I did stop eating pork and beef at that point. I was done. Mm-hmm. It took me probably after I got hurt, for me to completely stop. Like, I couldn't do it anymore. And it's funny because when I first started, I completely went like, plant-based. Like, this is for my health. But once I started like really going into it and, just like being an advocate. I don't like to say activist. Mm-hmm. I like to say advocate. I'm an advocate for animals. Yeah. I'm an advocate for the planet. I'm an advocate for health. But I will always be first an advocate for animals, because animals, they don't have a voice. They don't have anyone. They can't say, hey, listen, please don't do this to me. I have a family, So that's what we're here for, and through watching your videos, it helped me get to that point. Because I started watching your video. I said, "Oh, that's a gigantic vegan man there."
Thank you.
Hey, listen, it's the truth. I was like, I told my wife, I said, I wanna get, ripped, henched like you, So I was like, I wanna get to that point. But then, as I started like watching your videos and start doing my own research, I understood that it was so more important to, fix what was inside too, and if anybody can take anything from my journey is a journey of learning how to be compassionate, how to be kind, and how to love. And the side effect was health.
Nice. That's beautiful.
Plain and simple. Yeah. And
that's karma, isn't it? You
yes.
You get good back,
Exactly. Yeah. Like my whole life, all I've ever wanted was to make a difference in this, little world, and if I can help anyone, like by telling them, listen, it's okay to feel sad about the things that you've done in the past, mm-hmm. but don't allow them to keep you from your purpose in the future. Yeah, so many, sad dieters or carnivores or whatever, they have this sense that they can never be redeemed, mm-hmm. And of course you can. You can. The minute you decide that you no longer want to cause any more harm, you're on the redemption arc of your life,
like healing can begin.
Exactly. Embrace it and understand it. And to be honest, if it wasn't for my accident and all the things that I've been through, then I couldn't be the person that I am now.
Yes.
Like all the people that I've lost, like, I lost, basically my whole family was decimated by cancer. And that's the thing that bothers me. Like, if I would have been strong enough at the time, like to maybe, tell them, hey, listen, maybe we should switch up the way we're eating or whatever. Maybe they could be with me here right now and talking on the podcast with you,
I've just realized we didn't speak about, so you had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
which is
Yeah.
like a
A blood cancer
of the blood. And so your chemotherapist, your oncologist wanted you to have chemotherapy, but you weren't really up for that. Let everyone know that story. That is amazing.
But this is one of the best stories, I feel. When I got diagnosed, well, first of all, I didn't know that I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma because, as you guys see, my extravagant beard was covering the I guess the growth that I had on the side of my neck. So one day I had to cut it down because they were going to do another surgery. I've had at least 60 surgeries in my life.
60?
But yeah, I had both my legs reconstructed, my spine, of course, to remove the growth. Forget it. I can go. We can do a whole podcast of that. But
I thought you were walking miracle like an hour ago. Now it's gone up to a whole new level.
I'm telling you, I'm literally a patchwork of amazingness, I guess. At least
I'll agree with that last part for sure.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It bothers me to say stuff like that, but so what happened was I went to the doctor, and my doctor was like, "Yeah, we need to get this checked out." So I had another accident where a glass shard was unfortunately lodged in my jaw.
Oh wow!
So I thought it was that, like maybe scar tissue or whatever. But when he started moving it around, there was no movement. So I was like, so I knew instant, but I was trying to keep a brave face, of course. December 24th, Merry Christmas. I was called to come in. I came in, they told me, yeah, unfortunately, it's non-Hodgkin's lymphoma stage 4. And he wanted me to instantly start on chemo medications. And so of course you go into like, oh my God mode, what do I do now? So I asked him some questions, and this is this is where the story gets interesting. I asked him, okay, so what would you think would be the best way for me to eat then for this, He sits back and tells me, oh, eat what you want. Eat what you want, right? So I'm like, wow, so there's no semblance of health here. I said, okay, strike one.
Yeah.
Right? And then I tell him, okay, I really don't want to do chemo. I've seen what it does. I lost my entire family, and they all went to chemotherapy, and they're all not here, right? So rather than this man, understanding and being, a little bit more compassionate, he said, well, I don't need your business anyway. Now, it took everything from me not to stand up and shake this man within an inch of his life, because I was like, all these poor people that I see in his office, I see older people who the majority of their life, the rest of their life, will be in suffering. I don't care what anybody says. I've seen just horrible things when it comes to chemo. Then I see these young people who they'll never be the same person they were ever again. They get nerve damage, all these things that they don't tell you about, chemotherapy, So I looked at him and I said, how is this cure, killing people? Like, this isn't, I said, listen, I'm going to try my own thing. And I just walked out of the office and I never looked back. I go in every 6 months to be checked to make sure that, it hasn't grown or anything like that. Mm-hmm. But I definitely don't go to him at all.
Yeah. That is so wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like, where's your compassion?
Why is he in that job? Well, he's just there to make money, isn't he? It's not because he cares about people, obviously.
Well, unfortunately, that's how big pharma and the way the medical industry is going right now, it's like, they don't want they like I always say, there's no cures, there's no money in cures. There's money in return customers.
Yeah. I wonder he doesn't want you to sort your nutrition out, eh?
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what shocked me the most. Like I would think that you would want a person who right now is in extreme dire straits to eat a certain way for their health, and when he was like, and then to make it worse, he basically gave me a slight about my weight. He was like, "Oh, you're a big guy, you can handle it."
Wow.
I was like, "You."
How did you not murder him? It's a good job you're a nice guy. That's all I can say.
I just looked at him and I was just like, I need to go talk to my wife. That was always my first instinct. It was just like, just get back to your home and figure out how to beat this on your own. And through nutrition and movement. This is what I need to tell everybody. Movement is life. Okay, don't stop moving. Everybody, I want to be comfortable. Comfortable is death. Okay, comfortable for a random person is not the same comfortability to me and you. Like you and I, comfortable is us eating a brilliant meal or a hard workout in the gym and hanging out with friends, right? But you see people, they sit on the sofa all day, they watch mind-numbing stuff on TV. At least if you're gonna be sitting, right? Exercise your brain. Like learn something new. And when I was in the hospital, that's what kept me alive. Like being able to research things and use my brain. I couldn't use my hands or legs or anything in my body, but my brain was working on all 1,000%.
I'm trying to think. I've heard a phrase. I think it's grow or die, and I think it might be Tony Robbins said it, and he's on about you need to be constantly learning new things, or like it's the beginning of the end, basically.
You have to think about it this way: the only things in this world that stop learning and stop growing are dead things. So it's like, you don't want to be that. Like I don't. I love life. Like my zest for life has grown so immensely. And this is what I say. Everybody wants to know what my magic pill was, right? My magic pill was realizing that I am connected to something more than just myself. And that's the true key. When you realize that you are a part of something so much more huge than just you and your family, you will understand. You will start becoming more compassionate and more, not only just more compassionate, but you just start being kind to yourself. And that's when real change happens. When you start to be kind to yourself, when you start to speak lovingly to yourself. So many people walk around this world in total hate of themselves. Like, why? Why would you? Why? You're an amazing person. And that and honestly, that's my. I know you've followed my Instagram. That's my reason. I always tell people, just be kind. Be kind. Be kind to yourself. Kindness starts with you. With you. Self-care, like you say, self-care, right? Self-care is not easy for everyone. It wasn't easy for me. Definitely wasn't easy for me. So once you start learning how to do that, you can parlay that to other facets of your life. Like imagine eating, when you shop for your clothes or for your new, trainers, like I started realizing that I haven't had a pair of leather or fur, anything in well over 10 years. And it was even before I became a staunch vegan. It was just something that to me it was dumb. Like why? When there's so many good synthetic stuff out there that ended up lasting longer than, and it's crazy. Like I tell people, this journey for anyone, this journey isn't something where, you know, you lose a couple of pounds or you lose, you know, a 30 stone, like some people around here. And, you know, what really changed for me was just my heart, you know, me, you know, that changed. And that's what allowed the weight loss and the energy to work out came after I realized that I had to change the inside of me.
Yeah.
And it's so hard for people to sit with themselves and actually have that conversation. Like that conversation is not easy, you know. Like, you're like, we're like, what's wrong? Why do you feel so sad? And then, you know, your mind tells you, don't talk about that. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
You have to, you know, you have to have that talk, you know.
I guess that's where the self-medication comes in, isn't it? And people just
exactly
out, you know.
Exactly. Whether it be, you know, drugs or drink or food, you're still doing the same thing. You know, it's just like for me, I remember eating sometimes past the threshold of pain.
Wow.
You know, and that's and I guarantee you that you'll hear in you know, in one of your comments, oh my God, I do that.
Wow.
Because there's a lot of people that I know that have done it, you know, and it's sad, you know. Sometimes, like, okay, you see how a person who feels, you know, mental pain or do physical pain, you know, cut themselves in order to, you know, that's exactly the way it felt to me.
Wow, I've not come across that concept before. That's really interesting.
It was almost like it is, and that's what's sad. Like we've gone to this point where calling someone fat or saying, you know, you should get healthy is a taboo thing, you know. And I personally think that it's something that needs to be said. You know, if you see a friend who is unfortunately just wallowing, you know, extend a hand. It's not being disrespectful or being a horrible person if you say, I mean, I'm not saying go over to them and be like, hey, you fat, you know, like, you know, but
there's ways of saying things.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like go over to them and be like, listen, I have a friend that right now, he's actually on his own weight loss journey.
Okay.
And the way I told him, honestly, I told him, listen, I love you and I want you to be here. Please understand that it isn't that I'm trying to make fun of you. Like, you know, so many people, they get this thing where they say, oh, you lost weight, so now you think you're better than me. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. One bad month and I can be right back where I was before.
Sure.
You understand? So it's like, when I came to him, I was like, I really just want you to be okay. You know? And
nice, man. That's beautiful.
Boy, he took it and he ran with it because he's like,
well
I think he's like, like 50 pounds down. Like I was, and to be honest, that's what makes my whole journey worth it.
Yeah,
you know,
that's the silver lining.
Yeah, like you just helping others. Like that's always been for as long as I've known myself. I've always wondered what my purpose in this world was. You know, I'm what they call a empath, indigo child, what have you. But I've always wondered, like, what's my purpose? Why am I here? What am I set to do? And now I think I found my purpose. My purpose is to definitely show people that it can be done. It can be done. Just allow yourself, you know, allow yourself. That's it.
That is very, very evident, Joshua. You've definitely found your purpose. Just to wrap up the sort of, no, you're very welcome. Just to kind of wrap up the journey. So, how long have you been? So you've been vegan the whole time that you've been doing your weight loss journey. So what's the total time that you've lost 426 pounds in?
A little less than 6 years. It's next month. I mean, yeah. It took a lifetime to put on. So why would I expect anything less? You know?
People want it all gone yesterday, don't they? But that's not.
Yeah, it's not realistic. And if you do it that way, unfortunately, you will have either side effects or it'll end up coming right back and being more.
Yeah, man.
So take the time, work on yourself.
Yeah, you said earlier that you kind of self-medicated with food during tough times. If life throws a spanner in the works now, do you have a better coping strategy?
Oh, absolutely. Now I either do like you, take a, since I don't really walk as much as you, I take a nice drive. I clear my head, or I'll go to the gym and work out, and for the most part, I talk to my followers on Instagram. Like I call them, they're my avocado family, #avocado fam.
Nice. We should shout out your page too. It's
okay.
Dope Ass Vegan, isn't it? All one word.
Yeah, exactly.
Dope Ass Vegan. Follow this guy. He's super inspirational. Sorry, do go on. I interrupted you.
Oh no, it's fine. So that's what I do. I do like every Monday I do a live stream. And I tell stories. I tell how I first became vegan, my life before being a vegan, hospital things, just regular, just to see how everybody's doing. I like to check in on people,
Is that at time?
Yeah, usually around 5 o'clock.
And that's Eastern Standard Time?
Yes, sir. So that'll probably be 10 o'clock for you guys over there?
That's right, yeah. EST at the minute.
But I mean, I just like being available for people.
Beautiful.
I'm probably one of the only people that kills himself writing back to everybody who actually writes them. It's just something like I know how it felt, to write someone and never get a response back. So I try not to, and that's why when you wrote me, I was like, I was like, hey, I look like that little cat, the meme. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you're very kind. So just something you were saying earlier. I had a brainwave. You're exercising 6 times a week for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Mm-hmm. You've dropped 426 pounds total. How much has your strength gone up since you started, though? I've got to think you're a bit stronger.
Oh, yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, when I first started, let me see. When I first started, it was hard for me to grip things. Mm-hmm. So what I did was,
detrained.
Oh yeah. It was hard. So what I did was, the boxing wraps, right? So I would wrap a weight around my hand.
Oh wow! So you could grip it.
Yeah, so I could, do curls and stuff.
Wow.
So when I first did that, I was probably lifting like 10 pounds at the most.
Okay.
So right now I'm curling like 120 pounds with no problem.
So you've lost 426 pounds total, but I've got to guess that you've also lost 100 odds. I mean, it's hard to quantify, but you've built a lot of muscle basically, haven't you? You've built tens and tens and tens of pounds worth of muscle. So you've dropped a lot more than 426 pounds of fat in that time.
Oh, I'm sure I've replaced at least 20 pounds of just muscle and just I hate to just, say, oh, muscle this, muscle that. But for me, as far as my ability to move, it was paramount. I needed that because all my movements, like even now, if you were to see some of my training videos, you can see my mouth, and my mouth is saying 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Mm-hmm. And the reason why I do that, that's how I learned how to walk.
Wow.
Yeah, because when I was doing physical therapy, I was unable to get my brain and my body to work in conjunction with each other. It was just
I can't imagine.
Yeah, like my brain was like, yes, go, run. And my legs were like, I'm 2 years old. I have no way of doing this. Like I have no way of, so I had a physical therapist who was the smallest woman I've ever met in my life. But she was quite possibly the meanest like person on earth, but she was mean for a reason, So she told me, why don't you try this? She was like, you know how a machine, like a pneumatic machine? I was like, yes. And she was like, you see how they go 1, 2, 1, 2, like you always see it. And I'm like, yeah. So she said, get up from the wheelchair. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't. And she was like, can't does not exist. You had a doctor tell you that you will never walk again. And what did you tell that doctor? And I told the doctor, I said, you have no idea what the hell I'm capable of. And so she was like, you want to prove him right? Right. And I was like, she was like, you're going to prove him right? And I was like, no, absolutely not. So I slowly inched my way to stand up. And she said, okay, now breathe. So I would breathe. And then she said, okay, first step, 1, and I went, 1, second step, 2. And then the third step, I unfortunately did a half gainer into a foam pit, but it was steps. It was steps. I was like, oh my, I was like, it has begun. Yeah. So then the doctor came back in. He said, oh, I heard you stood up or whatever. I was like, yeah. He said, you still think you're going to walk out of here, huh? This is the bedside manner of doctors, like, I'm like, what? Like,
weak-minded people would just take that in. It's the nocebo effect, isn't it? Like these people should be freaking trying not to swear, just ashamed of it.
Yeah, like I just looked at him, and when I looked at him, he looked at me, and I said, listen, you may have had plenty of people that you've talked out of walking. I said, but sir, I'm going to tell you right now, it may not be walking under my own power, but I guarantee you I'm going to walk out of this place, right? So on the day that I'm released, who comes walking by? My doctor. I'm with my, I looked like an Iron Man. I had my Iron Man suit on, ready to go. And I look at him, and I, unfortunately, I did an obscene gesture, but I looked at him and I said, yeah, how you like that one? I was like, So I was just like, and now it's funny, but now he follows me on YouTube.
Oh,
he writes,
real?
And he's like,
oh, you're on YouTube as well?
I am.
Oh, I did not know that. And there's Dope Ass Vegan as well?
Yes. Same.
Guys, I'm going to put the link below for Joshua's Instagram and YouTube. So do follow him.
And my poor YouTube. And so he saw me working out, and he was like, wow. And I said, I told you. And this is my main message. My main message is, do not allow anyone to put constraints on what your ability is, because no one can tell you what your ability is except for you. And if you believe negatively, negative things will happen. If you believe that the sky's the limit, you're on a podcast with one of your vegan heroes. There you go. So it's just like, for me personally, like this is a this is a story of I just never liked the word no or you can't. Like, that to me is like you might as well have cursed my mother, because if you tell me no, I'm like, ooh, like
that's fuel.
Fuel. And it's crazy. Like I tell people, you'll be surprised the things that fuel your come up, And for me, it was just, and mind you, my mom was a nurse. I saw what it was to see compassion in a person. My mom was a nurse, and then she became a Medicaid officer, which is a person, who helps people who unfortunately don't have the means to pay for their medical stuff. And to see her day to day, and then to see her suffer the way she did at the end, I can't bring myself to allow, people to be treated in that way. Like you have to do your own research, understand what's happening to you, what's going to happen to you, what the doctor is prescribing. Like be educated, like, especially this is your body, you get one, body, so it's like, you get one shot at this life, right? So why not make your journey as badass as possible? Like just and people, people could change. Absolutely. Like I always hate this thing where, that saying, you can't teach old dogs new tricks. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like some of the people that I've met in my journey, like I met a 75-year-old man who works out at the gym that I'm at. Okay. The man is huge man.
Wow.
Okay? And he saw I had a shirt. It said kill workouts, not animals.
Oh, nice.
So he was like, "You're vegan?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Me too." And I was like, "What?"
Oh, wow.
So we two idiots unfortunately during COVID, we hugging each other, and he's just like, I didn't think that you were. He said, I kind of like felt it, and I was just like, how long? And he said, I've been a vegan for 25 years.
Wow.
And I said, sir, and you look the way you do? And he was like, yeah. And I said, where's all this weak vegan stuff at, right? And like,
he must not have got the memo.
Exactly. And that's the problem, that most men, like when they become vegan, the first thing you hear is, oh, real men eat meat, right? I always used to say, so now I say, when they say, oh, real men eat meat, I say, okay, if you think though, I said, but listen to this. And they're like, okay. I said, real men eat meat, correct? And they're like, yeah. I said, well, real men, I guess, are eating animals. Call it what it is.
Yeah.
Meat is anything. You're eating an animal. You're eating a sentient, loving being. Okay? So if that's what a real man is, then I'm fine being the latter, sir. Like I'm just like
good for you, brother.
Yeah, like I'm good. I'm good. I'm secure in my manhood. And I know you get this all the time. Where do you get your protein from?
Yeah.
And I see this kid comes up to me. He's like, "Oh, you're a vegan?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am." And he's like, "Dude, where do you get your protein from?" Whilst I'm curling 120 pounds. Yeah. I'm like, the same place you do, except that I cut out the middleman and all the horrible things you do to them.
Yeah.
Instantly shut down. The guy turns around and walks away. I'm just like,
that's how I say it. I say I get my protein the same place your protein gets its protein.
Yeah.
And I like to say to eat meat for protein, it's like eating mud because you're after the water. You don't need all the shit that comes with it.
Exactly. All the shit and all the sadness and all the things that carry, over where your food, like, and that's the thing that people don't exactly. And listen, and that's the truth. It's like I live my life doing a whole bunch of just, for me now, they were horrible things, and that's why my life took the turn that it did. It was kind of I'm of Puerto Rican descent, right? So we have this thing called un pau pau, right? It's like when a parent has to fix their child's, the bad stuff that they're doing. So they give them a little tap on the back of the butt, like, hey, stop that, And that's exactly the way it felt to me. Like I was just like, okay, I need to stop. I need to stop and rethink my life. And to the grace of the universe and the cosmos, I'm here, and I'm here to help and to spread, compassion and kindness and change. Like you can change. You can absolutely change. It's just you have to just be able to deal with that change. like deal with the person that you're changing into. And it's crazy. There's a lot of side effects that happen when you decide to fundamentally change who you are. You kind of start to see who was meant to be in your life. My circle went from being huge to 3. I have like 3 really good friends,
Wow.
And that's fine by me. To be honest, that's fine by me.
To have 3 like amazing friends that are there and you know they've got your back than 100 that.
Exactly. True legends. True legends.
And when you're on this, so you have the same morals and you know that they're ethical, they're compassionate people. So they're going to be compassionate and kind to you as well, aren't they? And
exactly. And that's the real thing. Like, we also, as vegans, we also have to be compassionate to each other. Like we have different mindsets in the vegan community, right? We have the staunch, activists that no, and then we have the plant-based people who, start a journey for health reasons, and then slowly start being right where I am in the middle. I'm a staunch advocate for animals and the planet and mental health, because that's huge, especially in the male part of it, and I'm also, about health and like, how are you going to be an advocate and a warrior for the animals if you're fending off all the sicknesses? And it's like you said in your last video, right? You can be vegan and be totally unhealthy. You can eat copious amounts of just processed things. And that's okay if you're transitioning and you're just trying to find your vegan legs, fine. But grow past that, understand that your body, because for me, I felt it almost instantly. I would do like mock meats and stuff, like my first, like 2 or 3 months, like I would do some mock meats and some, processed stuff. But man, I hit that 6 month mark, and it was like my body was calling for, give me greens, give me, give me fruit, and I'm and it's nuts. Like, as far as oil, I've never been a big oil person. Like if I use it, it's probably, I would say, not even. I use avocado, really, to be honest. I just cut up some avocado, smash it to bits and put it over the salad and just, hey, let it happen, Nice. I want people to understand that you grow, there's levels to veganism, there's levels to being healthy.
Yes.
And your body will tell you, when it's ready to go towards the healthier way. But if you're not listening, then you'll never hear it. You got to listen to your body. Listen.
I think that's a great note to wrap up on this. It's been a fantastic, fantastic tour de force. Joshua, you're super amazing. Like we're going to save lots of lives here with this video, and human and animal, and you're a real inspiration. Thank you again for taking the time to be here. And on behalf of the people, the planet, and the animals, thank you so much for everything you do.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Now click this.